Welcome back to another edition of Keys to the Game. In this segment, we are talking about overseas relationships again. Like always, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, man. It really helps the channel grow. If this is your first time, my name is Arnold Lewis, and this is the Arnoldsthoughts podcast, and this segment is Keys to the Game, man. And this Keys to the Game is just all the keys and the tips that you need to have a successful overseas career. You need the keys to unlock the kingdom. There's keys and tips that you need to be able to survive this game and go forward and learn and enjoy everything there is. But you have to have the keys. And relationships is a part of that. And a lot of times I believe that when we have in relationships overseas, we don't understand how much that affects our game, what we do on the court, what we do off the court. So these overseas relationship, I'm gonna get straight into it. So I was having a conversation with one of my really close friends that I played with last year. He was played for University of Conception in Chile. I'm currently now in Chile. I'm playing with Los Angeles. One of my old teams. I got like 6 old teams here, but this is definitely one of my favorite teams. One of the best that shows me the best love. But I was talking to my guy, and we was just talking about relationships because he was with me. Okay, let me break into context real quick. A quick story. For about 2 years, my last 2 seasons, I was here in Chile. I met a girl, fell in love. You know how the story goes, but she was from this country and I wasn't, and the first time we was together for about 6 months, however long I was in the country, on and off, that little dating phase where you meet each other and you're hanging out and you don't know, but then over time you just fall in love. But I had already made up in my mind I wasn't coming back overseas. I wasn't coming back to Chile no more. I was trying to move on to other things. But Lord have it, I came back to Chile. She came, moved in with me. It was one of those situations. Hey, I love you. I don't ever want to see you go, but I hope you go get the best out of life. She told me that. I hope you become the greatest and the best that you can be in this life, because I see that you are a great, great player and you don't deserve to be here because you deserve so much better. And I wish I don't ever see you again because you're meant for so much greatness and you don't even deserve to be here, even though I love you. And that when someone sacrifices that type of love for a person, it's just a different, and the fact that I actually came back, it's funny things, they say like man plans, God laughs. And I planned out to never come back and never see each other, but hey, if it's real, it'll come back. And it came back. So fast forward, we together, same situation, was together the whole season, had plans, made all these plans to get together, get married, all these things, and it fell apart. Strictly for the fact was she just wasn't ready for the overseas life. Meaning she couldn't, in her mind, wasn't ready for, I could possibly be alone with a kid for 8 months at a time because he has to go and secure this bag for us by doing what he does. I mean, the whole reason we even met is because I'm doing what I'm doing, which is traveling the world and playing basketball. And that is a big issue for some people. Some relationships can't stand that distance like that. And as me and him was talking, he was like, man, you really need to bring up this topic because I'm clearly going through it, because you're trying to understand how do I manage these relationships because they affect me so much. I mean, we're humans. I don't even want to talk about nobody else, but I know for me, I want love. I want a family. I want to grow in that aspect. At this stage of my career, I'm not no rookie who's just out here and I'm enjoying the life as far as going out to the clubs and doing all this. Not saying that you can't go out and do and have your fun, but I'm a vet now. I did all that. I'm looking towards my future and what I want out of life, and I want a family and all this and stuff. I want a family and kids, another kid, but these situations come up and you have to understand how to navigate through that. How do you navigate with your partner? How do you let them understand what they need to be ready for when you go over a relationship? Because I know guys who's been in relationships and they're fighting with their girlfriend and they don't get to see them for 6 months. Do you understand you fighting with someone and you just having that built up resentment and you don't get to see them for like another 6 months? Because normal seasons, it starts off like the school year. It's normally a basketball season overseas. It's kind of like the school year. So you're going to start off those first 3 months. It's cool because normally you have a break, just like in school. You got that break. On the break, most guys go home. You get like 2 weeks. You go home. You get like that little recharge. You get to be with your family. You spend like a week, 2 weeks. You see your kids, whatever the case may be. So the relationship is cool. But then when you go on that second half of the season where you might be going 6 months, and like right now I'm currently in the playoffs, and most guys that I know it, like one of my best friends, he's in the finals right now. I'm in the semifinals right now. My other friend that I'm playing against, he's in the semifinals, so we go deep into the season. So we're away from our significant others for longer at times just due to our greatness. Just due to how great we are. Some guys have been home 2 months. That's another 2 months away from your family, from your kids, from your wife, from your girlfriend, from whatever it is. And you got to be able to understand how to navigate. You got to understand how to communicate that to your partner. You got to understand how to communicate that to your wife, to your girlfriend, to your kids. Because you got to understand that it's all about the relationships. And I know it's for me, this is what all I can say. For me, that what I've understand in this game, relationships has been one of the most difficult things to find, to understand. Not because you're not in love, it's because that distance and being away. It's a sacrifice to every greatness that you have. It's different, like for most guys in the States, even them, I can't even speak about the guys that live in the States in the NBA because most of the time they're still in the country. You can still go home. You can fly your family out. You're still home. You're still in your own country. I be on the other side of the world. I'm in Chile. I live in Florida. That's literally a different part of the hemisphere. Like I'm really in a different lateral of the world. So just that distance and not seeing them for such a long time. I think almost all of my relationships is just, not all of them, but vast majority of them, they just didn't work because of just the distance. It's never been because of love. It's never been because we were fighting and nothing and stuff like that. Because I'm a positive guy. I don't believe in all that fighting, and I believe that everything that you have, and when it comes to relationship, is just a communication. So building that communication with your significant other can allow you to can navigate through the problems. I'll give you an example. When I was with my ex-wife and we were married at the time, I won't go into all the details why she's my ex-wife, but when we were together, there's certain things that you have to do there's going to be tension. How do you navigate through that tension? So we had a dog, right? We had our apartment, we had a dog, and it was her dog. Whatever, it was her dog. And she always complained about the dog. And for some reason, we always argued over this dang dog. Every time this dog comes up, an argument pops up. I need to go get the dog to do this. He doesn't listen. I say, okay, you do this for the dog. Do this. When he does this, do this. She don't do it. She complain. I'm be like, why are you coming to complain to me about it when I just told you what you needed to do? And it always created a problem. And it's always even worse when you're however miles away or you're in different continents and you're arguing. Sometimes some people just need a hug, but you can't get a hug. You can't give that physical touch. So you got to set some boundaries to let you know, like, hey, listen, man, this topic is off limits. No matter what, no matter the case, this topic is off limits. You know why? Because it creates conflict. And in this distance that we have, in the situation that I got to work and you got to be, we can't have unnecessary conflict because it's going to mess with our relationship. And if it messes with our relationship, being married, being with a partner, that's a lot of emotional stress that you got to put on yourself because you have to go and perform. You have to go and perform, and you need to have nothing but positive energy. You have to have positive thoughts. You got to have all these positivity things going on because you have to go perform and provide for the exact family that you're dealing with right now. You're providing for your family. So you want to be in the best mental state to provide for that family. And I think in America, I just know for America, like one of the most dangerous calls is a domestic call because there's so much emotions involved that people go crazy. So you have to understand like the emotions of love that people have in your relationships and how you navigate that, and that what you do to disregard and push things to the side that can make you have issues. You don't want those issues on your mind, on your heart right before you go play in the semifinals. As I'm about to currently go play. Those type of things you don't want on your mind. You need that communication, setting boundaries of what you can and cannot talk. Sometimes it be what you can and can't talk about. What you can and can't do on both ends. One of my old teammates, I was like, hey man, let's just go out. You know what I'm saying? Let's just go out to get something to eat. I think it's a little spot or whatever. And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna just stay here because me and I was his girlfriend at the time, but now it's his wife. He was like, we set these boundaries that it's not even about that we don't trust each other. It's about we don't trust other people to give us that influence to mess up our relationship. And I was like, 100%, I respect that. You have to understand your relationship with your significant other in order to thrive in your sport, in your career, and whatever it is that you're doing. Because you're to neglect that, how much it affects you. How much it affects your heart and your emotion, and how much it's going to affect you on that court. I don't care what you're going through. If you having a fight with your girlfriend or your wife and you got to go play in the game and you guard me, I'm coming at you. You don't want, this game is 80% mental and you do not want your mental all over the place. You don't want your mental all over the place because your relationships is in shambles, and I got to figure out how I can get her understanding and whatever the situation. I'm not singling anyone out, but you don't want those type of situations to happen, or you want to avoid as best as you can these type of issues, so you can have a loving relationship and have a great career out of this overseas basketball life. These are some of the keys that you must understand. One of the biggest key is just communication. Set boundaries, set limits. A lot of times, understanding that setting limits helps save relationships, helps save circumstances that may happen that can deter the both of you. You know, that's why we have rules, to keep everyone safe. If there was no rules, it would be the Wild Wild West. If you don't have rules and you don't have communication, I believe in clear communication can solve a lot of issues. Communications on what we can do and what we cannot do goes both ways. And as long as both are willing, as long as you're willing to have the conversations and not deter. And that's what one thing that I always am big on is make sure that you put your pride to the side and have those difficult conversations. So we divert from difficult conversations all the time. You cannot divert from the difficult conversation. You need to have these conversations that's going to help you in your relationship. Relationships is a big part. Not even I'm talking about from teammate to teammate, but with your significant other, because that's your livelihood. A lot of guys do it for their wives and their families and their girlfriends and their future and whoever it may be. But we can't also allow that to affect us. It's so much that goes into this relationship thing. And I'm not a relationship coach. I can only speak from the experiences that I've been through in my time in overseas basketball. And it is something that I have came across that I understand that if you are not intentional about handling this the right way, it will make or break your career. Thinking that you don't have to have your personal life with your significant order in line will make or break your career. Because you're too emotional, because she's too emotional. I've even seen so many guys that have issues just because, man, my girlfriend, and we had to block each other. And I'm talking about, we're human. We're all human. We all have feelings. We all love. We all feel. And we just can't take for granted none of that. Listen, that's all I got for this episode of Keys to the Game. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a 5-star rating on all platforms. Thank you guys for being here. If there's anything else that you need that I can help you with, or you want to understand, I got to do a part 2 to this one because this one just goes too deep. I have my notes here. I was supposed to get into this and that. But once I start talking about the relationship stuff and what I've been through in all these aspects, man, it's just too much comes out. So I'm definitely going to make another episode or different part and talk and get more deeper into this overseas relationship. Remember, greatness is a habit, not a right. That's all I got for you guys. Till next time.